soon the White House will hold its briefing in front of cameras, but behind the walls, the West Wing seems to be falling apart, gripped with chaos and conflict. Among the topics that Press Secretary Sarah Sanders is going to face here in just a moment, the sudden resignation of Communications Director Hope Hicks, the president's anger with Attorney General Jeff Sessions hitting back at him, the new revelations about meetings the president's son-in-law took in the White House and business he got after those, the president completely upending his party's agenda on guns, and that's right, one of his cabinet secretaries' apparent spending spree on furniture. And one of the key figures at the center of this Wild West Wing drama is Chief of Staff John Kelly, who told his former staff at the Department of Homeland Security this today.
I miss every one of you every day. I went. Truly, at 6 months, the last thing I wanted to do was walk away from one of the great honors of my life, being the Secretary of Homeland Security. But I did something wrong, and God punished me, I guess.
A little humor, maybe a little reality there. Let's begin at the White House now with CNN's Caitlin Collins, who's standing by for us. Caitlin, Hope Hicks announcing her resignation less than 24 hours ago. Today, all eyes on Jared Kushner. Tell us about what's happening behind the scenes at the White House.
Yeah, that's right. It's a lot going on behind the scenes here, Brianna, especially with Hope Hicks, one of the president's top aides and closest confidants, announcing that she is resigning from the White House after spending the last 3 years next to President Trump every single step of the way from the campaign until his time here up inside the White House. Is certainly a significant change coming for the West Wing and for the president himself, because though there have been a rash of departures in this White House, Hope Hicks is so much more than that, because she is so close to the president that she would rarely even leave the West Wing if the president was in the Oval Office, because she knew that at any minute he could beckon her in there with that, "Hey, Hope, get in here," to consult her on whatever was on his mind. So it's another member of the president's inner circle that is now leaving the White House. We've already seen that with Keith Schiller, the president's long-term bodyguard, who left earlier this year. Now Hope is leaving. Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump's long-term future here in the White House is up for debate. And it looks like the only few aides left around the president, Dan Scavino, Kellyanne Conway, who have been around him for some time, are dwindling by the day here, Brianna. So certainly a lot on the president's plate here.
And not a great day on Wall Street. We've seen the stock market down about, there you see it now, down 500 plus points. This is because of an announcement that the president made this afternoon. Tell us what happened.
Yeah, very last minute announcement, to put it lightly, Brianna. The president announced he's going to impose these tariffs. He says starting next week on aluminum and steel. It is 25% on steel, 10% on aluminum, something that certainly took a lot of people by surprise, because, Brianna, as last night leading up to that announcement today by the president, there was a lot of confusion over whether or not the president was actually going to announce it. Last night they thought he was. This morning it seemed like they were just going to have a listening session. And then during that hastily arranged meeting where they brought reporters in, the president made that announcement. And that was actually against the advice of some of his top advisors, certainly something that caught Capitol Hill off guard. But the president says he's going to start instituting those tariffs starting next week, Brianna. But just another scene in this very, very, very chaotic West Wing that we have going on behind me here at the White House.
And tell us about these questions today about ethical lines being blurred inside the Trump White House involving the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. The New York Times, of course, is reporting that Kushner's family received his family business got about $500 million in loans from two companies right after he met with the heads of those companies at the White House. So it was supposed to be in an official capacity, and then you're seeing some personal gain afterward. Kushner reportedly discussed giving the co-founder of one of those companies a job within the administration. Is there anything else we know about this?
Yeah, that's right, Brianna. Essentially, the story is that Jared Kushner's family's real estate company is benefiting after he meets with the heads of these other companies here at the White House in his official capacity as a senior advisor and special assistant to the president. And one of those that you just mentioned that was up for a job is Joshua Harris. He's the founder of the Apollo Global Management Group, and he was actually a contender for a White House job early last year, met several times with Jared Kushner. And then when that job didn't pan out later on in the year, his company, Apollo Global Management, lent the Kushner real estate family's real estate company a $184 million So quite a sizable loan, actually much larger than what that company usually lends to people. But it's just another story in a string of stories over the last few weeks that raise the questions of Jared Kushner's ability to continue to work in this White House, Brianna.